Fights, fights, and more fights. Chapter 1077 was almost entirely fights and a pretty major death, and I don't think Oda can undo this one. Real quickly though, the cover story. Caesar and Judge stop fighting and realize that, hey, it's not them that got in each other's way, but it's actually Vegapunk's fault. Who knew? Now, to Egghead. We get right into it with Sentomaru being questioned by all the residents of Egghead what the army of pacifistas is doing on the island, and what's going on. Sentomaru decides to just be blunt, and tells everybody the story of Ohara and how they were wiped out for researching the poneglyphs and the true history, and not for trying to start a revolution against the government. He also causes mass panic in them, and causes my own panic levels to rise, and says that, hey, Egghead is in imminent danger, as they've decided to eliminate Vegapunk because he knows too much, and of course, by association, that means all of you and everybody else on this island. Meanwhile, in the command room on the 4th floor of Building A, we cut to Zoro, Luffy, Lucci, and Kaku doing battle! The epic tag team melee continues with Luffy and Lucci launching a Kong Organ and Finger Pistol Yellow Lotus respectively, sending S-Bear flying with substantial damage. Kaku then lets a Tempest Kick fly, and Zoro's one-sword style EI, Lion Song, roars, slashing S Hawk. But they're getting up way too fast. What are they, Kaido? Luffy sure seems to think so, and I love that this is the comparison he draws. Speaking of comparisons, it really does seem like Oda's trying to drive home that Lucci's awakened form is more in the power bracket with Gear 4th Bound Man than Gear 5, as we clearly saw Gear 5 stomp. Zoro may be above Kaku, but since they're both not going all out, it's really hard to gauge how big that power gap is. The Seraphim get up and have a flame on their back, and Zoro has seen this before, finally realizing how similar this is to King, considering the striking Lunarian features the Seraphim have. I have such a burning desire to really understand how Zoro didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I also love it when Zoro and Luffy are blockheads, so I'm okay with it. Zoro does make it clear to Shaka, though, who is shocked to hear that Kaido had a Lunarian on his crew, that he didn't get his name or his race when fighting him. We actually learn that King is a Lunarian in the flashback to him and Kaido at Punk Hazard, which we will get to in a second. Shaka, being big-brained despite his surprise, pieces together that Lunarian must be Albert because he and Kaido were experimented on by the world government at Punk Hazard. This is also complete verbal confirmation that it was Punk Hazard, although it was pretty clear based on the buildings in the background, and this gives us a pretty concrete timeline on when the development of the artificial dragon fruit likely started. It's also confirmed that the Seraphim are specifically enhanced by Alber's blood, but that makes me question if there are any other Lunarians out there in the world. Maybe on Laughtail? Zoro takes the L and apologizes, saying, hey guys, I'm sorry you wasted all your energy, and Lucci seems to be pretty understanding. He's like, nah, it's fine. We can still take him out now that we know this information. That is until Zoro notes that the Seraphim have pretty much all of King's defining features, minus his luscious locks. In which case, Kaku, Luffy, and Lucci proceed to lose their minds a little bit. After this, Shaka starts to walk away, saying he has an idea of where the Stella body may be, which is oddly sudden, by the way. And then S Hawk comes in and tries to intercept him, stopping him from leaving, and Zoro obviously denies it, saying, hey buddy, listen, I think it's time we wrap this up. We got places to be. Meanwhile, on the 3rd floor of Building A, we cut to Nami's group. We see Nami charging S-Shark, who we all assume she'd be fighting, in a wonderfully cultured manga panel, mind you, as she lets out a thundering cry to summon Zeus. She's having a hard time fighting a Jinbei lookalike, though, which is understandable, and she doesn't have the knowledge about the Lunarian flame that Zoro and Luffy's group have. We also see S-Shark took down both Brook and Edison, and it looks like Nami is the last line of defense. Brook likely fell protecting her. Boom! A thunderbolt from Zeus, and S-Shark is fried fish. Or is he? Because he actually just splashes back into the ground using his swim fruit, and Brook gets up and is like, Nami, look out, run! He's still up. Nami screams out of fear, and then suddenly you hear that music kick in. And my boy Sanji comes in and kicks S-Shark square in the teeth. After Sanji beams in like a missile, he tells S-Shark, look, for violating Sanji Land's Constitution Article 1 and 9, which say you can't scare or make Nami scream, you are going to be put to death, even if you do look like Jinbei. Then, after that epic entrance, we cut to the 3rd floor of Building C, and S-Snake's battle. Lilith has a sea energy bubble gun that's used to pacify the Seraphim, and she launches it at S-Snake. However, S-Snake is only down for a second and gets back up to start fighting Franky and Usopp again. Franky's about to deal a blow and gets kicked away, and then grabs a bubble and tries to deal a decisive finishing blow to S-Snake, when suddenly she acts all harmless and hurt, and he makes a mistake and gets turned into stone. Immediately, Usopp and Lilith start panicking, but then S-Snake strikes like an idol pose or something, and they find it cute and get frozen. And I want to talk about this for a second. I want to give Oda the benefit of the doubt that S-Snake's fruit works differently to Boa's fruit. I think Boa's fruit does have something to do with the kind of sexual attraction and, you know, you finding her pretty and gorgeous because she's often described as the most beautiful woman in the world. However, with S-Snake, because it's a child, obviously that is a no, I will not touch that with a 10-foot pole. Based on the way it's portrayed in the chapter, I don't think it's attraction as much as it might be sympathy or, like, you know, finding your daughter cute, like or your cat cute, you know what I mean? Like, they're doing something goofy or something silly and you're like, aw, and then suddenly, boom, you're stoned. I don't know though, I may just be reading too much into it and Oda might be doing something really questionable, but I'm inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt. To wrap it up, Shaka goes underground to find the Stella Body and the Cypher Pole agents imprisoned in a room that used to be used to develop artificial devil fruits. And this is where the crazy thing happens. As Shaka runs to free Vegapunk, we just see, bang! Pistol fires right through the back of Shaka's skull, and he goes down, and it doesn't look like he's getting up from this. However, I wouldn't put it past Oda. He has brought back Pell from a nuclear explosion, so who knows? Lastly, I think the Traitor has the highest probability to be Seraphim Doflamingo or Seraphim Blackbeard, although Seraphim Blackbeard would be a really interesting choice to introduce into the story, and I don't know how I'd feel about him having a Seraphim clone. It would have to die, like, right as soon as it's introduced, because otherwise I feel like it could take away from Blackbeard. Another reason I'm leaning towards Seraphim Doflamingo or Seraphim Blackbeard is because they do have a tendency to use pistols on panel. We've seen them both do it to finish off enemies. I feel like because it matches their actual counterparts, it may be reflected in their Seraphim. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you liked it, subscribe, hit the like button, and in the comments, give me feedback. Last week, a guy told me my audio was meh, and I want to know if this volume level is better or worse for you guys, so please tell me. But with that all said and done, I have been your host, Lettuceboy Walrus. Have a wonderful rest of your day.